Hello everybody, welcome back to another video with Lim Reviews. Now in today's video, I do have here a very interesting device, and that is the Redmi Note 11 Pro. Now bear in mind that this is the non-Plus model, which I actually reviewed about 2 weeks ago. This is just the standard Pro model, and there is actually quite a lot to love about this device right here. So in today's very quick review, I'm just going to be jumping over all the items that you need to know so that you can think whether or not this device is actually worth waiting and also whether it is worth your money. Alright, so we're going to jump into it straight away. Let's talk a bit about the price first because that's the most important thing. Now, this device here is slightly cheaper than the Plus model. This is going for RM1100 here in Malaysia. Obviously not officially launched yet. And for you guys in other parts of the world, that is approximately $250 US. Now bear in mind that this is not a cheap device. The previous Redmi Note series has always been like budget segment, but it's moving up the ranks now. I would consider it slightly between the budget and the mid-range. Now let's talk about the next thing here and talk about the design. This is my favorite part because the Redmi Note 11 Pro right here has the same design as the Plus model. Everything is literally the same. We do have this very smooth matte back panel here, very nice fitting over there, and we also have these beautiful flat sides. So what this means is that you can do cool stuff like placing it on your desk like this. It sits on your desk very nicely. Now, one more thing that I should highlight over here is that the device here still retains the dual stereo speakers, which is apparently tuned by JBL, and you still have the headphone jack at the top here. So everything is built very nicely. It feels very solid in hand and definitely feels like a more premium device. Alright, so now that we're done about the design, let's talk a little bit about the display. Now, flipping the device to the front here, we are greeted with a very nice Super AMOLED display by Samsung. This is a 6.67-inch Super AMOLED display, 1080p, refresh at 120Hz, and it also has a 360Hz touch sampling rate. In other words, this is a very smooth display. Everything here is buttery smooth. Every touch to it reacts instantly, so you have that super smooth display on the Redmi Note 11 Pro. Now, I think that Redmi really gave us a good one here because the display here is a good panel. What I mean by that is that contrast levels, saturation levels, brightness levels, everything is just very good to look at. It is a beautiful display here. So definitely a big thumbs up to Redmi for giving us this awesome display on a Redmi Note series. Alright, so now done with the display, let's talk a bit about the processing power because that's also very important. Now, powering this device here, just like the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus, is the Dimensity 925G. You have the same processors even on the Plus model. So just in terms of perspective, if you are very familiar with Snapdragon devices, this Dimensity 925G sits slightly above the Snapdragon 765, but it is not as powerful as the Snapdragon 778, which is Snapdragon's best mid-range processor to date. So otherwise, in terms of performance, now you can play games, almost every single game at the highest graphics settings, but of course, the only trade-off here is that the graphics might not be as good as the ones on the Snapdragon, but otherwise, I would say that the gaming experience is actually quite smooth here and it doesn't heat up that much. Now, in terms of day-to-day use, launching apps and all that, the speed is not the fastest as well. Everything is just fine. I would say that everything launches very smoothly. The keyword here is smooth, but it is not the fastest out there. So I guess this is just the kind of performance that you would expect from a mid-range device. Dimensity 925G over here, I still give it a pass or a thumbs up actually for a device that costs this kind of money right here. Alright, so now we're done with the performance. Let's talk very quickly about the cameras at the back because this is where we do get a triple camera setup. It is led by a 108-megapixel main sensor. You also have an 8-megapixel ultra-wide. And last but not least, you have a 2-megapixel telephoto kind of macro lens going on over there. Now, in terms of the image quality, it is exactly the kind of images that you can expect to see on the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus. Again, things are very similar over here. I'm going to share with you a couple of pictures. Images taken during the day looks amazing. It looks very good. It has great contrast levels, good saturation levels, and more importantly, it actually looks very accurate in terms of the colors. Now, one thing I did notice here is that in terms of night mode, images did turn out fine as well, but the camera itself is a bit sluggish. I think I did mention this in the Redmi Note 11 Pro Plus review. Obviously, it's just the same story here. Everything is just a little bit slow at night, and the camera is just very slow to capture images. So that's the kind of struggle that I was facing with this Redmi Note 11 Pro here. Alright, so now done with the cameras, let's talk very quickly about the haptics here. In terms of the haptics, just like the Pro Plus model, you also have the X-axis haptics. That means all the vibrations here are actually very short and crisp, and it's basically the best haptic engine that you can actually get in the market today. It feels like a premium flagship kind of device, so all good with the haptic engine there. Stereo speakers wise, everything does sound pretty good as well. Volumes do get pretty high, it doesn't crack at high levels, and there is sufficient sort of bass with the speakers itself. So everything good there in terms of the audio quality. Now last but not least, let's talk very quickly about the battery in the back, because this is one of the major differences between the Plus model. Over here we do have a slightly larger battery, a 5160 mAh battery that charges up at 67 watts fast charge. Now the battery here is slightly larger than the Plus model, but it charges up slightly slower compared to the 120 watts on the Plus model. So what does that mean? Basically, this means that your phone can actually go a little bit longer. I was able to get about 2 days of battery life on the Redmi Note 11 Pro right here. And in terms of charging, it does 0 to 100% in just 45 minutes. Me personally, I don't really need the 120 watt fast charge. I think 67 watts is actually quite sufficient here. And being slower also helps to preserve the battery life a little bit more. Alright guys, I think that's pretty much what I have to cover in today's quick review. I do hope you have learned a thing or two about the Redmi Note 11 Pro. Let me know what you guys think about this device. Do you think this is something worth waiting? Do you think it's also worth your money? Let me know down in the comment section below. Me personally, I think it's a solid device coming out of Redmi. The Redmi Note 11 series is just getting better and better, and I think it's a very, very decent offering. Of course, don't compare it to the Poco F3. I know some of you guys might actually talk about that. Alright guys, done with the review. Thank you guys so much for watching till the end. If you did like this video, don't forget to drop a like, sub to the channel if you want to see more content like this, and I do hope to see all of you guys in the next one. Stay safe everybody. Bye!